meeting is being recorded, so please mute your microphones. Thank you. I'd like to welcome our guests, and I'd like to welcome all the additional members today. And Norlin, would you like to introduce your guests?
Yes, it's my very great pleasure to introduce Dottie Marin. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And also Mandy Butler. They will be our pros and cons presenters, our panelists. And we also have our great guru, Mary Thompson, who has trained all of us over the years to be extremely rigorous in our presentations, and especially we work for a long time, over a month, on the scripts that are used to make sure they are factual, up to date, and represent absolutely nonpartisan information. So we want to thank Mary for being here with us. We're a little bit tight on time because we want to make sure that you all get the information that you want. So the way the pros and cons works is like this. You are going to hear what people in favor of a certain proposition or measure say. You are going to hear what people who are against the measure say. You are going to hear a little bit of history, if it's pertinent, background history to why this particular measure or proposition came up. You are going to get some information about the money, and you are at the end, and this is probably what's the most helpful, you are going to get the statement: if you vote yes, this is what you're voting for. If you vote no, this is what you're voting for. So I urge all of you, I hope you downloaded your Easy Voter Guide, which is done by League and which is so helpful. Otherwise, you can also take out your general election booklet. Either one of these would be good for taking notes, so you have the information that you need. And without further ado, I want to have Dottie and Mandy begin to present to us. We will start with the state propositions, and then we will look at local measures.
And hi, everyone. My name is Dottie Marin. Norlin, could you stop sharing your screen and then I'll be able to share mine?
I am not sharing anything, so that would be Sally. But
all right.
Could you tell me what?
Actually, not necessary. Not necessary. I was able to take control right away from you.
Thank you.
All right.
What page is that on this brochure? What page are you on?
Okay, you're going to start with page 3, which is going to begin with the first measure.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't hear that at all. It didn't come through.
Oh well.
Just listen.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm still waiting for things to load on my screen. Okay. So hopefully now you should be seeing the PowerPoint.
Yes.
And I'm going to turn this over to Mandy Butler, who's going to start us off.
Dottie, are you in presentation mode? Yes, because we're seeing the top of your.
I'm sorry. So you're not seeing the slide?
Yeah, we are seeing the slide, but I don't think it's full screen. It's fine. I think it'll be fine.
I'm not sharing anymore that I'm aware
no,
of.
it's
well,
okay.
Hold on. Okay, well, I can stop sharing and try it again.
Yeah, try when you're in presentation mode, you want to click the.
Okay, wait a minute.
Now let's see if I can stop sharing. Yeah, see, I'm not sharing, so.
You're fine, Sally.
Yeah.
You're fine, Sally.
Okay. I would like to make one point. We do have some business to take care of today. We need to vote on our budget. And so that's important at the end. We're letting the League of Women Voters bring this important information to us first today.
Dottie, I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
I think it'll be clear the way you have it now. So
thank you.
Why don't we just move ahead?
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for inviting us, the League of Women Voters of North County, to provide you some information about the propositions that will appear on your ballot this election. As many of you know, it sounds like a lot of you are members, the League is a 102-year-old nonpartisan community organization dedicated to encouraging informed and active participation in government. We also work to influence public policy through education and advocacy on important issues. But as we just discussed, the League never supports or opposes a political party or a candidate. If you're not a member, I encourage you to support the League by becoming a member or by donating, which you can easily do at our website. And we'll put some of that information in the chat later. So first of all, in order to vote, you have to be registered, as I'm sure you all are. But it isn't a bad idea to check your registration status, especially if you've moved recently, something like that. The deadline to register is October 24th, but you can still register and vote the same day at a vote center. And the election day is November 8th. You know, I think so. Somebody just mentioned, I think it'll be great. We're going to ask that you hold questions to the end, but please put any questions you have in the chat so we can keep track of them. All registered voters will receive a ballot in the mail starting around October 10th. When you complete if you decide to vote by ballot, the mail-in ballot, you can mail it, you can just drop it in a mailbox, or you can use one of the county drop boxes, or you can drop it at a vote center. And the vote centers, if you want to vote in person, the next slide so again, you can vote in person at a vote center. As probably most of you know, we no longer have the typical neighborhood polling places. I know when I first moved here, I used to walk down the block to my neighbor's garage, and that was my voting place. But that is no longer the case. Instead, there are over 200 vote centers located throughout San Diego County where you can go to vote in person, and you can go to any one of them. You no longer have an assigned voting place. You can also, if you prefer, drop off your completed ballot there. Vote centers also have accessible machines, and they have materials and help in various languages. Some voting centers will be open 10 days before election. All of them will be open 3 days before election. If we go look, I don't know if you can take a screenshot of this or a picture of this, but this slide has the various websites you can use to check your registration, look for the places to vote if you want to vote in person, and so on. So I'll just pause here if anybody wants to either write some of this down or take a screenshot of this. Okay, so and again, we can show that at the end if anybody has any questions. So again, you invited us here to talk about the ballot measures. And ballot measures can make new laws, they can change existing laws or remove existing laws. And sometimes the ballot measure can change the California state constitution. They can be placed on the ballot by parties who collect enough signatures to qualify by our state lawmakers, or qualify to be able to be put on the ballot, or some things like changes to the state constitution are put on the ballot by the state lawmakers, by the legislature. A state proposition passes and becomes law if it receives more than 50% yes votes. Some local measures have different criteria. Some require 55% vote or even 2/3 majority to become law, but the state propositions require just a 50% yes vote. Just an aside, you don't need to vote for every ballot measure or even every candidate. If you really are unsure, you can leave it blank. It doesn't invalidate your ballot or affect your other choices. In our presentation, as was mentioned, we're going to give you some background, a description of the proposition, the arguments offered by supporters and opponents, And probably one of the most interesting things, I think, is how much money has been spent to support or oppose each proposition. Some voters really like to follow the money to get a better idea about the propositions. A quick disclaimer. Arguments for or against any of these propositions that we're presenting to you have come from the supporters and opponents and are published in the official voter information guide. We really can't vouch for their accuracy. They don't represent the league's viewpoint. And please understand that these statements are likely to be opinions on the behalf of the opponents or supporters. And they may not necessarily be totally based on fact. Our role isn't to persuade you in one direction or the other. The decision on how to vote is yours and yours alone. You can also go to the votersedge.org website to see your ballot and see your ballot and what's going to be on there in terms of what you're going to be able to vote for. And you can also find in there the contributions made by proponents of a measure. We'll be covering 7 state propositions and some of the local measures. We'll try and get to the presentation efficiently and have time at the end. If we can't answer your question or we don't have time to answer your question, you can submit the questions to our website and someone will get back to you. If we don't know the answer to a question, we will find out the answer and get back to your host with a response after the event. Okay, so let's move on to the propositions themselves. So Proposition 1 would amend the California Constitution itself by adding a specific right to reproductive freedom, including abortion and contraceptives. This proposition was placed on the ballot by a vote of the legislature. So the legislature approved it and put it on the ballot. Let's start with some background. Prior to 1973, abortions were prohibited in 33 states and only allowed in special circumstances in 13 others. And it was actually legal in 4. In